it. All right. Well, the time has come. My favorite segment is here. I'm putting Reggie on the hot seat, covering all the latest hot topics in Minnesota sports called What Does It Mean? Reggie, you ready to roll?
Let's do it.
First up, what does it mean with Reggie? Tom Brady is in the news again, not for football-related purposes on the field, but off the field. He just signed a 10-year, $375 million deal with Fox to join the broadcast booth when he retires. What does it mean for the likelihood Brady now retires for sure after the 2022 season, knowing this is waiting for him? And I'm just curious, as a broadcaster, sports broadcaster yourself, what does it mean for former players, turned broadcasters in general? And I guess just even on a broader scope, what does it just mean for sports broadcasting when you see a guy like this sign that kind of a contract?
Man, where do I even start on
I don't
this
know.
one?
Lot to touch on here.
So I prefaced this by saying, my wife has this saying, when we talk about things, we like, look, I ain't no hater, cuz,
Right.
I ain't no hater. So Tom, like, get your money. Go get yours. Do your thing, man. Like, I'm not mad at you for this. But dude, favor ain't fair. Favor ain't fair. Like you play this position 10 Super Bowls. You're considered the greatest of all time. And it's just like, now you got to transition to some other lane and be compensated as like the greatest of all time there as well. Like, quarterbacks make the biggest salaries in all of football, sustained throughout their career, the biggest salaries.
Guaranteed money. As soon as you sign the contract, boom, 60 mil,
paid.
Guaranteed.
He's paid, okay? Yep. And then you transition to a new career, by the way, that you have no experience in, and they give you $375 million. You're making more money as a broadcaster than you did as a quarterback, or at least comparable.
No, it's more. I think $333 million was the number that's going to get flung out if he retires this year. He's going to make more money, like you said, Reggie, than the 22 years playing quarterback in the NFL combined. Unbelievable.
And that is nuts. It's nuts for a network to shell out that type of money for a guy who you don't even know is going to be good or not. Mm-hmm. Like, we haven't seen Tom Brady do TV in this role at all. And you're giving him $375 million over 10 years. And it's like, look, you got to pay to play, because it's like, if they didn't do it, I'm sure someone else would have.
No doubt.
Amazon or someone else would have ponied up. But what I think is crazy is, like, you have no idea when Tom Brady is going to retire. Like, he could play this year and he's like, oh, man, I felt pretty good this year. I think I'll give it another go. Like, he could play 2-3 more years. And you're just like waiting on this guy to come and be the guy for you. And you've given 10 years, $375 million. Like, here's my thing. And I tweeted about it yesterday. There are other broadcasters in this industry who have the formal TV training, who have the experience, 10, 12 plus years of experience. And they're not sniffing anything close to that. I mean, you're talking about, I know people that are making $50,000, $60,000 a year in TV, and they've been doing this for 15, 16 years. And you just got a guy who steps right off the playing field and you're giving him $37.5 million.
Jeez.
Like, it is just, I think sometimes it's just like, look, okay, like, we get it. Like, these guys have played the game. They're analysts, and there's a premium on guys who can break down the game for fans. And I get that. But when you talk about, like, him sitting in the booth next to Kevin Burkhardt, and he's making triple, quadruple of what Kevin Burkhardt's salary is, like, I don't know about that. Like, something's off with that, Like, and Kevin Burkhardt is one of the premier broadcasters in the television industry. And so, like I said, I'm not hating on TB12. Like, make your money, dude. Like, do your thing. But, like, dang, man, like, you couldn't just fade to Bolivia, as Mike Tyson said one time. Like you just can't fade to Bolivia, with your family and just enjoy the fam. And funny enough, somebody made the comment like Tom Brady spent a month with his family, and he just said, you know what, no more. The heck with that. Like he went back to football, and then he signed a deal that solidified what he's doing after football as well. Like, I'm not doing that again. I had enough. I'm not a family man. I'm not a present dad. I'm dedicated to a craft. If it's not football, it's gonna be broadcasting. And I think too, wrapping up thought, he's a very competitive dude. And you got these other quarterbacks and these other broadcasters like Troy Aikman, like Tony Romo, like Chris Collinsworth. Now Kirk Herbstreit is going to be on Amazon. Like, Tom is not going to want to be second fiddle to any of those guys. So I know that he has the competitive nature to attack this, work ethic wise, to be great. But you look at it like, no matter how much you prepare, no matter how much you try to be, great. Like, even the great Tony Romo was just, heralded for his knowledge. I think he's regressed kind of towards the mean. He just kind of says, pretty much like, broadcaster speak, if you will. Like, he's not saying anything too enlightening anymore. And I think what we saw with Jason Witten is, man, TV is hard. TV is like, I do this every day, and I have to work at it every day because people just think, oh, you just got such an easy job. You just, get on TV and talk about whatever for a living. But no, you got to be creative. You got to be entertaining. You got to be informative. You got to, have an obligation to tell people the truth. Like, not that what Tom Brady is doing is quote unquote journalism, as opposed to what I'm doing. But like, Tom could work at this as hard as he could, and he could still not be good at it. That's the thing with TV. Like, it's just, it takes a certain type of person to be good at this, and we'll see what happens.
Can't be mad at Tom Brady, like you said. More mad at the system itself. Like you said, somebody else was going to pay him all that money too. You can't blame him for taking all that money, but it's a hard pill to swallow, man. Like you said, if you're Kevin Burkhardt sitting right next to him, you put in your 20, 25 years of service, and then this guy comes in with no experience, making you said
obliterating
triple,
your salary out of the water. I just think it's a little tired. I think it's a little tired and just a little unoriginal from some of these broadcast networks that they're just like, oh, let's hire a former, like, you look across the board at ESPN, FS1, all that, like, they're just hiring these former athletes to be these personalities and all that stuff. And it's just like, come on, man. I mean, I get it. You say that they're qualified because they played the game, but it's like, there are other people who are qualified to be in these broadcast roles that you don't even sniff paying them. I mean, like, I looked at like Stephen A. Smith, love him or hate him, he's one of the hardest working people in this business, and he's making $10 million a year, which is nothing to sneeze at. Mm-hmm. But like, you got Brady making 37.5, like, he's making $27+ million more than Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith is literally a fixture on our televisions every single day.
It started with Romo. Remember, Romo kind of set the precedent. And here's the thing. Romo's good. I like Romo. He's really in depth. But everybody just assumed, oh, if they can do it with Romo, we can do it with anybody. And not everybody's a Tony Romo. I'm sure Tom Brady will be great. He'll give great insight. Here's the new lineup now. CBS, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. Fox, Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady. NBC, Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth. ESPN, now they got Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Amazon, you mentioned Kirk Herbstreit, who I'm excited about, and Al Michaels. You can only watch one the rest of your life. Which one you picking? No explanation needed.
I mean, all right, no explanation needed.
Go ahead.
I'm going Buck and Aikman.
I'm going Nantz and Romo.
Okay.
I'm excited, though, to see Kirk Herbstreit. I'm very excited. Can't really go wrong with any of them. Again, Brady going to be interesting. All right, next one up. What does it mean? Former All-Pro linebacker Luke Kuechly said on ESPN he thinks the Vikings will have the best secondary in the NFL thanks to the perfect blend of veteran leaders and Patrick Peterson, Harrison Smith, and young, raw talent the Vikings just drafted in rookie Lewis Cine and Andrew Booth Jr. What does it mean when predicting what the Vikings pass defense will actually look like in 2022. I mean, we haven't heard that high of praise from any expert when it comes to the Vikings defense that ranked near the bottom in nearly every category last year.
I think it's encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really encouraging, really promising because, going into the draft, everyone was talking about they need to draft a cornerback. They need to do it. They had the Bashaud Breeland experiment fail last year, and you got Cam Dantzler back there, and Patrick Peterson is aging a bit, and they had to address the position. I think drafting Lewis Seen was a little bit of a luxury for them because they did have Harrison Smith and they did have Cameron Bynum ascending as well. And so, you draft Lewis Seen and you're just like, oh, okay, we're going to bulk up this secondary. And then, what a lot of people thought was a first-round talent in Andrew Booth Jr., you got him in the second. And you're like, if this kid can stay healthy, he seems motivated too, after listening to him talk after the draft. He seems motivated to want to be one of the best corners in the NFL. And I mean, he has the talent to do that. It was a lot of people talking about him being, one of the best cover corners in the entire draft. And so under Patrick Peterson's, tutelage, kind of showing him the ropes, showing him the game, and kind of helping him along as he continues to try to be, a top tier cornerback in this league, even, at his advanced age. I think it's very encouraging to see what this unit could be like when you put Seen in there with Harry and with Bynum and Dantzler and Pat Pete and Booth Jr. Now you're talking about a team with a little bit of depth here and a team that can make some noise when you're talking about going against the Packers, who you're not really sure who Aaron Rodgers is going to throw to. And now you got the Lions with St. Brown and Jameson Williams, who you're going to have to defend. And then, whoever the Bears got, whatever. I think it gives the Vikings some confidence that they can compete against these teams in the division.
It's funny in the NFL because you can go worst to first in any if you have one good draft in offseason, you can just completely change the entire vibe and landscape of your team, offensively, defensively. Vikes obviously went defensive heavy in this draft, one of the worst defenses in the league, but they just added a lot of young talent and speed. I mean, this game now is all about speed. Lewis Seen and Andrew Booth Jr. can fly around. But like Luke Kuechly mentioned, I think the whole reason this comes together so well is because of the nice little balance, the sprinkle of veterans, PP and Harry, that can teach these young guys and get them acclimated quickly so they don't have that, long, slow developing rookie season. They can just come out and stop thinking and just go play sooner than later. Like a lot of rookies just can't say because they don't have that kind of veteran leadership on their team. Going to be interesting for sure. Last one, what does it mean? ESPN draft experts were asked to predict the offensive rookie of the year. Christian Watson tied Titans wide receiver Treylon Burks for the most votes. Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker and Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett were second and third in voting, respectively. What does it mean when predicting this year's rookie of the year?
I'm not doing this with you, Luke. I'm not doing these dudes have not even took the field yet. I'm not doing this. It means that we have no idea right now. These are one of the things that kind of irk me about, some of the, we're just trying to drum up some type of content in the offseason while we're waiting on seeing these guys for real. These guys haven't taken a snap yet with their respective new teams. Some of them haven't even signed their rookie contracts yet. And we're talking about whether or not they're going to be rookie of the year. I think is way, way too soon. There are draft pundits saying that Treylon Burks is kind of green, so don't expect a whole lot from him. So, to start, a lot of people saying Christian Watson is green and, he's got to develop chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. All of these things remain to be seen. I do like Kenneth Walker for the Seahawks, and I think they're going to be relying heavily on the run now that they don't have Russell Wilson anymore. Kind of get back to being that run dominant team, and I think Kenneth Walker is a great fit for them.
Me too.
So I'm excited to see what he does up there. And Kenny Pickett may not even see the field with money making Mitch out there in Pittsburgh. So it's hard to predict these things, and I appreciate ESPN trying to drum up some excitement and drum up some talkers, some conversation. But I'm not falling for it. We're not doing this today.
It's just grasping at straws. They're trying to put the pieces together, connect the dots. Okay, Packers move on from their number one wide receiver. They have an reigning MVP at quarterback. He's got to throw it to somebody. They draft Christian Watson. Maybe he's the favorite. But you're right. We haven't seen anything yet. And I don't know if necessarily like rookie OTAs and even training camp can really glean and show you that much.
No.
So really, you don't really know until you start to get a few weeks into the season. But of course, as they always say, NFL is king. We're talking NFL 365 every day of the week. All right, Reggie, you survived the gauntlet. Back here tomorrow previewing the Wild and Blues Game 6 and some more Twins baseball. They're hosting the Astros tonight. Chris Archer on the mound. First pitch at 6:40 p.m. Remember to subscribe to a YouTube channel and join us every day for another episode covering all the biggest topics in Minnesota sports.